Fast-track your fluency. Move forward with Flolingo.
Hello everyone and welcome. I'm Natalie Wong and today we're diving deep into a crucial aspect of global business, multicultural communication.
It's where good intentions can sometimes lead to unexpected misunderstandings. We're going to start with a real-world scenario.
Imagine this is happening right now, perhaps even in our globalized business landscape here in Thailand, where we encounter so many different ways of working. So let's jump in.
Our scenario is called the constructive criticism. The situation: we have Anya, a project manager from Germany, leading a multicultural team. After a major presentation, she sends an email to Kenji, a junior designer from Japan who created the presentation slides. Anya's email reads, "Hi Kenji, thanks for your work on the slides. Please see my feedback. The data visualization on slide 7 was confusing and needs to be redone. The font on slides 10 through 12 was inconsistent with our brand guide. Also, the conclusion on slide 15 was too weak. Let's ensure these are fixed by EOD tomorrow. Thanks, Anya." Now, here's the twist. Kenji becomes very quiet during the next team meeting, and his work quality drops significantly. Anya is confused. She felt her feedback was clear, direct, and intended to be helpful. So here's your task, if you were in a group discussion. 1. Identify the conflict. What are the core reasons for the miscommunication between Anya and Kenji? Think about their likely cultural approaches to feedback. 2. Propose a solution. How could Anya have delivered the same essential feedback in a more culturally sensitive way? 3. Draft a new message. How would you rewrite Anya's email to Kenji? Aim for clarity on the required changes, but also preserve a positive working relationship. And to guide your thoughts, consider these discussion prompts. What is the difference between direct and indirect feedback cultures? How can you successfully give constructive criticism in a multicultural team? All right. Now, whether you've paused to think about this or discussed it with your team, let's break down what's really happening here. This scenario is a classic example of how well-intentioned communication can go wrong when cultural differences aren't understood. The core of this miscommunication lies in differing cultural approaches to feedback and hierarchy, deeply influenced by what we call cultural dimensions. First, let's look at direct versus indirect communication. This is often tied to low context versus high context communication styles. Anya, from Germany, comes from a low context, direct feedback culture. For Anya, her email was perfectly professional and helpful. The message's meaning is found almost entirely in the words themselves. Her culture values efficiency, clarity, and getting straight to the point. Feedback is seen as a tool for improvement, distinct from personal feelings. She genuinely intended to be helpful, expecting Kenji to simply fix the errors. Now, consider Kenji from Japan. Japan is a classic example of a high-context, indirect feedback culture. In Kenji's culture, feedback is often delivered with much more subtlety, often softened with positive framing, and with a strong focus on preserving group harmony and avoiding loss of face, especially for a junior employee receiving criticism from a superior. Anya's blunt, direct criticism, particularly in an email format that lacks the nuances of tone or body language, likely felt incredibly harsh, disrespectful, and maybe even publicly humiliating, even if it was just between the two of them. The bluntness of the critique completely overshadowed any intended helpfulness. We also see the influence of power distance here. Japan generally has a higher power distance than Germany. This means there's a greater acceptance of hierarchical structures and differences in power. As a junior employee, Kenji might feel he absolutely cannot question his manager's feedback. Anya's direct instructions, "Let's ensure these are fixed by EOD tomorrow," could feel like a rigid, unquestionable command, leaving no room for input or discussion. This can lead to a sense of disempowerment and demotivation, directly contributing to his drop in work quality. He's not being difficult, he's likely feeling a profound sense of shame or confusion about how to proceed. So, how could Anya have navigated this? The key is to adapt her feedback style, moving towards a more high-context approach while still achieving her goal. She could have, 1, started with a positive buffer, always begin by acknowledging effort or highlighting something specific that was done well. This sets a positive tone and shows appreciation. 2, used indirect and softer language. Instead of, "It was confusing," perhaps, "I had a few thoughts on how we might make it even clearer." Framing feedback as suggestions or questions invites collaboration. 3, chosen the right channel. For sensitive feedback, a brief private face-to-face chat or even a video call is often much better than a cold email. The email can then serve as a follow-up summary. Let's look at a rewritten email that incorporates these adjustments. Subject: great work on the presentation and a few thoughts for the final version. Hi Kenji, thank you so much for all your hard work on the presentation slides. The design on the opening slides was especially strong and made a great first impression. I really appreciate your effort. As we prepare the final version for distribution, I had a few ideas on how we could make it even stronger. I'd love to get your thoughts on them. For the data on slide 7, maybe we could explore another way to visualize it to make the key takeaway crystal clear for the audience. I also noticed the font on slides 10 through 12 might be slightly different from our brand guide. It would be great if you could double check that for consistency. For the conclusion, I was thinking we could perhaps strengthen the final message a bit. What do you think about these suggestions? Let's chat briefly about it when you have a moment. Best regards, Anya. See the difference? This version softens the direct criticism, frames it as collaborative suggestions, and prioritizes the relationship. In summary, understanding cultural dimensions like direct, indirect communication, and power distance is vital. When giving feedback in multicultural teams, observe and adapt. Watch how others give feedback and be flexible in your own style. Focus on why. Explain the purpose behind your feedback. Prioritize privacy. Deliver sensitive feedback one-on-one. Separate the action from the person. Critique the work, not the individual. By doing so, we move beyond just clear communication to truly effective and respectful communication, building stronger teams and achieving better results globally. Thank you for joining me today. I hope this analysis helps you navigate your own multicultural communication challenges wherever you are in the world. See you next time.
Fast track your fluency. Move forward with Flolingo.